All right, I'm just grabbing a remote. Don't worry about it. The state of the game 144. Welcome, everyone. Look, I got a remote. We're just going to mute that real quick. Great. Hi, everyone. Today I have a couple of guests with me who are going to kind of keep the train rolling from last week.
Yeah.
We're focusing more on skills and all that sort of stuff. But before we get to that, and I'll introduce Fred and Bruce in a second, let's just hit the one priority alert we have for the week really quickly so we can get into the good stuff. Let's do priority alerts. Yeah. All right, so the one thing today from the maintenance that was performed yesterday, there was a bug in the DZ that allowed players to kind of sneak inside the places they shouldn't be in and shoot from behind walls. That's fixed, and that's it. Yay, now we can focus on, I'm just gonna leave that there because anytime we get closer to an update, these things that are being fixed currently will diminish and then we'll have a lot of big stuff coming really soon. So let's just leave it at that. That's all you need to know from the maintenance yesterday, and let's get going. I guess without dev interview, let's go straight into it. Let's do it. Oh yeah. See how quickly I did that?
Yeah, just moving along really rapidly.
Why faff about when we can?
Absolutely.
Someone
get
said,
to the juicy stuff.
Get to the juicy stuff. Someone said bring the thunder, but I think today it's just a continual drizzle. Like we're in the eye of the storm now. And but we still have a lot of really cool
How long
stuff
can we
to talk
torture
about.
this metaphor?
No, it's done.
Something that doesn't work for me with that one. But
No.
Okay.
Welcome, Frederick. You were here last week. Bruce, have you been on the show before? You've been on a podcast that we did.
I've been here a couple of times. First time was for the skills overhaul. Basically, it's something else too, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
It probably had something to do. It either made everyone. You either loved it or you hated it. I think that's a safe assumption.
Yeah.
We work on the same team.
Yeah.
We work on all of this RPG game update stuff.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us today. I think we should just go straight into it with the whole ethos behind skill recal and skill power refactorization.
Lots of information fast.
There's a lot.
Right.
So for those who kind of missed the memo last week, can we just quickly give the bullet points of last week so we don't really have to touch on those now, and then we can move on.
The major bullet point was like Gear 2.0,
Yeah.
right? We're revamping the gear, rebooting the gear, you might say, with no budget system, god roll indicators, different setup for talents, all kinds of good stuff, more powerful talents, new way of doing gear sets, all kinds of stuff. There's a VOD, I'm sure.
All right, before I forget and we get into the conversation, I know one of the big questions that's been floating around about that, and we talked about it before, was people who were wondering if this is going to be overly simplified. I know build diversity is always something we're aiming for.
Absolutely.
Now that talents are only on backpack and
chest and exotics everywhere.
And exotics, are people's concerns that it will be overly simplified warranted?
I think when you initially look at it, you're going to go, what? Just like talents in just two places? How can that possibly be as deep as before? But if you make a build now, right? Like we were having this discussion just a little while ago. There's not that many choices in every slot. There's a couple of talents for each slot, like 5
I would
or
say
something.
you predominantly have 2 to 3 impactful talent choices, and then the other half or more are just passives that you could get through attributes otherwise.
So you're not really making choices when you're picking a mask now. It's just, you're going to have hard hitting, right? And then you take the talent requirements on that. How many actual builds where you can get all the talents to function together are there really? Whereas now we're going to have like 20 odd talents to choose from on backpacks and chests, and you can combine them any which way.
Well, 20 on a backpack, 20 on a chest.
Yeah. So there's a lot more viable combos, and then you add in exotics, which you can have on top of that.
Yep.
And then gear sets, which like you could either get 4 pieces and then run, a high-end chest and backpack, or you can run the amplifier pieces that we showed.
And that's really, we probably haven't stressed that enough.
No.
Like what kind of an effect those amplification talents have for gear sets. If you really love the identity or profile or gameplay opportunities that a gear set provides, you can go deep on that. Or you can go 50-50 and replace it with a high-end talent or a exotic backpack. There's so many combinatorics there. And we haven't even touched on changes to brand sets.
But the TLDR, like the summary is, like it's not about complexity of understanding it. It's about how many choices and viable things there are to make.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then let's leave it there. We'll be sticking around for more conversation about, I guess, everything that we have been
we'll
talking
talk about everything,
today,
right?
and in the past weeks. So we'll go down that rabbit hole in a little bit. But for now, let's jump into an overview of the recal,
Right.
and then we'll hit talents. What can you tell us about the design ethos behind what we're doing with recal?
So the current recal is part of the reason why you have so much crap in your inventory and stash, right? You just got to keep all kinds of pieces to potentially use them to recal something in the future. You got to
Yeah.
keep a stash of every talent around and all the roles around and stuff like that. And it's just a mess. And what we want to do is make it like intuitive and make it fun and still allow you to customize things, right? So what we've done, and I haven't gotten the best screenshots. We're going to show screenshots in a second, but what we've done is make it I like to think of it as a Pokedex, right? You find gear.
You said a Temtem Dex.
Temtem decks, actually. I mean,
Come on.
Don't
Right.
DDoS us, bro.
so you find rolls
Yeah.
on items, like you find a high headshot roll on masks, and you extract that and you save it into a recalibration library. And then you can use that as many times as you want on all gear, on all masks from then on.
Right. It's the equivalent of like if you had a max roll damage to Elite's mask
Yep.
right now, you could always just,
Yep.
you don't need that mask 100
You essentially
times.
learn it.
Yeah.
Right?
It makes so much sense. Let's have a look at some of those screenshots that you
Yeah,
managed to
let's do that.
pull up. It is worth noting that these are from a work in progress build. It's
Yeah.
just to give you an idea of the way that the design, like the game design part of it
Right.
will work. The visual representation may change. And again, we would rather
Yeah.
show you and talk about it.
You might see some
Then hold
oddities
it.
in here. Numbers are all over the shop,
Yep.
etc. But you'll get the idea. So
Yes, chat, as many times as you want.
Yeah.
You can see it.
yeah,
Infinite Pikachus.
Yeah.
no.
Yes.
I mean, it's up here, but it's not up there.
No, because
Yeah.
I see your desktop.
Huh. Okay. I gotta fix some things. You guys keep
Yeah?
chatting.
What do you got on your desktop? That's so
I got
secret.
nudes.
Oh, this is spicy.
But yeah, so the idea is that with the new gear, you can recalibrate talents, stats, core stats, and mod slots. So like almost everything, right? So you can, and in the current recalibration, if you don't recal the right thing, you've lost power, right? Because you got to recal something that was like low with something that's really high and super complex. You can do it poorly, right? Like if you recal a talent, you've done it wrong because you
Yeah.
need, With the new system, that's no longer true because you'll recal
see
it
it
to
now?
max, and it could have rolled max.
Could you re-add it as a source? Sorry.
Maybe we can answer some questions.
Yeah, that'd be
Well,
great.
one of the things, and you've designed this, so like why you would want to recal core and mod slots is because they're dictated by the brand, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Thinking how deep to go into brand conversations, but there is the new direction with brand set bonuses in addition to the attribute roles is that the brand sets essentially are a profile or match a profile, which is either offensive, defensive, or utility and skill based.
And then there's some hybridy ones and fun
And then
stuff.
there's a few exceptions that are considered sort of like rule breakers or hybrids, like Badger Tough, for example, is
Right.
going to become a primarily defensive yet secondarily offensive brand set focused around getting into the thick of it and surviving. So I'm not sure if we want to go into those specifics per se,
Yeah.
but you will have the opportunity to break rules with
Right.
brand sets to change the core
There, I fixed it.
attribute
It should be working
Right.
out.
or mod.
Yeah, so like normally,
If you can just full screen that presentation, would be great.
let's see where that button is.
Oh, PowerPoint. There we go. All right. So now we can.
We
pull-
can't let this become a habit, having PowerPoints on here. We got to get more videos, man.
I don't know, man. I kind of like. I kind of like the PowerPoints. Let's.
Right.
Looks like it's coming up in just a sec. Oh,
There we
there
go.
it is.
All right.
So what are we looking at?
So, apology again for like the quality of the screenshots, but we're including the players on a journey of work in progress here.
I like that.
Yeah, we want to talk about things early. So here you kind of can, this is just the normal recalibration where you can go into any of the categories because you want to recalibrate a weapon or a mask or whatever, right?
Sure.
But you can see the tab up top, you have a library where you can look at your collection. Like how many attributes have I extracted? How many talents have I found for each of these categories? These numbers are whatever, they're from an artist. They're not the real number of talents or attributes that exist on things. Just can't stress that enough. They're just placeholder numbers.
You get the idea, though.
So you go in and you go like, okay, I'm going to look at my masks. Okay, so I've already found this much weapon damage, this much armor, this skill tier, which we'll get to.
Oh, that's not our mouse. That's someone else's mouse.
On masks.
It's a production mouse.
It's a production mouse. And I can go, you know what? I can see here that there's an improvement available for like the armor roll.
Can we bring that full screen just so we can...
Yeah, I mean, our faces aren't quite as interesting.
No. There we go.
There you go.
Nice.
So you can go in and go like, okay, there's apparently I have something that I can extract and get a better armor roll. So you go in and you go like, okay, here's all my masks that have armor core rolls. And you'll select the one you want to extract from. And you'll see like, oh, this is going to improve by some amount. You extract it and that destroys it, just like recalibration has always destroyed like the source material. And then, unfortunately, I don't have more screenshots. Then that roll, that armor roll, is available to put on all masks forever, right?
So one question that I see popping up in chat is, what are you going to do once you've filled in your Pokedex or the recal bench?
Yep.
Well, I mean, you still need to find, in order to, let's say, have a perfect item, you still have to find an item that has all the other attributes God rolled.
Yeah.
Right.
This is just a way for you to
Fix
either
one
break
thing.
a rule,
Yeah.
like changing a always defensive core attribute brand set to an offensive
Yeah.
core attribute,
Yeah.
or to shore up any holes or a bad potential roll on
Yeah.
a piece of gear.
Yeah.
It's
In-
not going to diminish
Yeah.
the
I'd say it's more about customizing gear than like improving its overall power for the most part.
Yeah.
Like if you think about a chess piece, it's going to have a core roll, 2 attributes, a mod slot, a talent. That's 4 out of 5 things. You still got to roll well, and then maybe you can recalibrate one of those things to fix it, right?
and certain gear pieces or slots are going to be easier to perfect,
Yeah.
whereas the backpack and chest in particular are
Yeah.
difficult.
I mean, you've seen at various times throughout the game when people have tried to replicate this through, if there's something God rolled on a vendor, right? Like a max
Yeah.
weapon damage stat on something. They'll buy 50 of them and put them in the stash,
Because they needed to have
Sure. right? But
yeah.
you won't have to do that anymore.
No.
No.
You have it, you have it.
Yeah, you've found the max roll for armor, for masks, then you have it.
That's a
And,
good
and
question.
yeah, that question. Still only 1 recap per piece? Yeah. Because it's more there to capture the ability to fix one thing.
Yes, Loppy
Change
Bro
one
has a
thing.
question. Is the stat library character or account-wide?
We're still thinking about that. I think possibly we'll start out with a character bound, but probably we're looking at the opportunity to spread it to be account wide.
Okay.
We haven't really gotten to that point. Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you want to
nice.
tackle
Yeah,
that
this
one?
question, like how does it tie into crafting? Like crafting pretty much works like it worked. You could craft pieces that will have different roles depending on how powerful the thing was. And then you can recal something on that. Like crafting is just another source of items, right?
Cool.
So I think the thing to remember is all of that stuff you have in your stash, you can now, extract all of the things that you kept it around for. If you can still remember why you kept that one piece around.
Yeah, I'm like, why did I keep this? I don't remember.
You can send Pikachu to the glue factory.
Don't do it. Yeah, horrible. So, I mean, this has been something that various parts of the community have talked about for a while
Right.
in some way or another. It's really cool. I just want to give a shout out to the community for being a part of the, I guess, this journey of
Right.
improving the game. It's really cool.
And I think honestly, most people who have suggested collecting the stats rather than keeping the items, they kind of expected us to do it so that you extract it once and then you can use it once. But in practice, we found that it's really fun to kind of have that feeling of filling out the whole deck or the whole library and just knowing that you have everything collected. It becomes another thing for you to do, to find all the god rolls for everything.
So if I'm reading this question correctly, so you can't craft a god item by using the Pokédex. No, you cannot take the Pokédex and then generate a assault rifle
that's dev hacks.
from that.
Yeah.
Or that we can do that. But no, that's not how it's going to work. You're still going to have to craft an item and it's going to roll randomly generated attributes or stats, and then you can then use your Pokédex.
Let's stop using it. Let's use the recal library.
The recal library in order to
Yeah.
finalize it or perfect it.
Yeah, that would break the game. You
Yeah.
wouldn't play the game anymore.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I just made all these items. Hey.
Yeah. So it's not a terribly complicated thing.
Yeah.
Find stats, extract them, use them forever.
All right. Anything else you want to say about Recal before we move on to skill power refactorization?
I mean, we're still working on costs and everything. It's probably going to be a little bit more like tuned than to be more costly than what it currently is because it's so powerful, but
Sure.
we'll see.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I
Let's-
think the next slide you have is about
Skills.
skills.
Yeah.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other topic for today, right? It's about skills. Like we've seen the stats.
We saw skill tiers.
Skill tier.
Yeah.
So TLDR, skill tier replaces skill power and skills scale directly with it,
Great.
right? Just straight
There'll
off.
be a lot of questions. We'll answer as many as we can.
Yeah. So straight up, like you equip this item that has skill tier on it, which is only available as a core attribute,
All right.
you improve your skills directly. No modding or anything required to scale the
So I'm going to
skills.
ask some dumb questions. These pair of gloves will add +1 to your skill tier.
Yeah, and there's 6 skill tiers. That's why there's little segments to the bar.
Are there items that will add more than 1 to your skill tier?
No, not currently.
All right. So there's not like a
No,
magical longbow
No.
+3.
because
Like-
that means
Alright.
you can wear 6 pieces. If you wear all 6 pieces yellow or what with skill tier, then you have skill tier 6 and the most powerful skills.
But
Gotcha.
we do have some mechanics that you'll get into that can
Right,
play
yeah.
with your skill tiers.
Obviously,
as well.
this is the base of it, and then we toy with it.
Because there's over 9,000 level, pretty much, right? Like
pretty
there's something
much.
beyond skill
Ye-
tier 6
yeah.
that we'll talk about soon.
So anyway, you equip this, and you'll see in your summary, you'll see skill tier go up. You'll see like your whole skill tier there, and then you can look at your skills. In this case, a turret, and see, oh, I'm at tier 2. This is how good my turret is now,
Okay.
and that's like pretty straightforward. Every skill has a different setup for what it scales. I think the next screenshot is, just Reinforcer Chem Launcher. So that has other stats that scale when you have higher skill tiers, right? So really straightforward. If you're wearing a lot of yellows, your skills will be very good,
Okay.
right?
Going just a question I see here. So you have ammo, radius, duration, and health, or heal. Sorry. Over the 6 skill tiers for this, are there any different variables, or are they the same variables at different levels? Or does it mechanically change?
Well, you get what's on that tier, not that tier and all above.
Yeah, but
So
we're
they
not-
do have the same, but later they might add even more powerful things in the later tiers for some of them.
Different variables, or just
Yeah,
higher
it
amounts?
could
of-
be like, okay, at tier 4 and above, this thing gets like plus range or something, only for like high skill tier users.
Interesting.
But I don't even know if I brought a screenshot of that. One of the, let's sneak peek what the next thing is.
Ooh.
So like, yeah, this.
We'll have to go back and forth between
Yeah.
those two. You can kind
It's
of
a little
see it.
subtle because this is like a tier 1 and a tier 2 flame turret, but you can kind of see how
So
it grows in width here, for instance, like how broad the flame
cone,
is
yeah.
for the turret.
Yeah.
I didn't capture a screenshot of that, but we'll see it later. You can also see on a skill in the world, let's say you're in the dark zone, which tier it's at.
All right.
You're like, look at it, and it'll say a little battery in 6. Okay, that's a tier 6 turret. I'm going to watch out for that thing. So you understand what's coming at you.
Can you just go back between those two? Oh, sorry.
All right,
Yeah,
these two. Just
so we
going to
can
do
see.
the.
So if you don't know what you're looking at, see here in the second one, the cone
red
is slightly
cone.
wider. And if we go back, it's slightly...
Yeah, and then maybe that's not the best, but we'll have the best way to exemplify it. But like just looking at the actual stats, you can see how it grows for each skill tier here in this image, right?
And correct me if I'm wrong, we have video
Yeah.
that is very difficult to not see
We'll talk about
the
that
net effect.
Yeah.
in
of-
just a sec. Before we get to what that video is and spoilers, it's about an overcharged thing. We'll talk about that in a sec. The big question I've seen in chat quite a few times is skill mods. Where does that factor into this whole thing?
And you'll still have skill mods, specifically all the ones that you already looted, and they will work pretty similar to like weapon mods in their power level. They'll add like little percent modifiers to all of these different things depending on what mods you put in there. But I'd say like if you forget to put mods on your skill, you're still fine. Like the main scaling is going to come
Just
from your
fine-tuning.
gear. This is more fine tuning. Hey, I want to put like duration mods, whereas I want to put damage mods or health mods.
Okay,
on there.
what's the qualifier for putting those on? Because right now you need X
Nothing.
amount of skill power.
Nothing. And I have a screenshot at the end, I think, where we should just show that. It's just little extra bonus values on there.
Okay, all right.
It's a recal question.
That-
Yeah,
that-
we'll
that's
save
a
that
recap
for later.
question. We'll come
Let's
back-
keep
we'll come
going
back
with
to
the skills. So the other thing is when you go over 9,000, well, no, when you go to a specific state, a new keyword called overcharge, your skills go nuts. They go super powerful. But
Yeah.
that's just accessible temporarily
Okay.
from talents, typically exotics or gear sets, but
There's a few-
some
there's
high
a
ends
few
as well.
sources, but they're
Yeah.
very controlled.
Okay.
And this is meant to be very
Right.
similar to a more traditional like bloodlust mechanic for any of
Bloodlust
the-
is a good, yeah.
yeah.
So here, for instance, you can see this is a high-end talent called Energize, where you can get overcharge for your skills if you're already at tier 6, if you use an armor kit.
Yeah, because right now, so let's say I'm skill tier 5.
Yeah. Then you just gain
You get
one
tier
skill
6,
tier.
right?
But if you're already at max, you gain overcharge in this particular
Yeah.
case. Other talents on gear sets, for instance, might grant overcharge no matter what tier you're already at. And yeah,
I believe there's an exotic
that grants
does
it.
that in particular. So you could, and again, these are on some not insignificant cooldowns, but you can potentially boost or overcharge your entire group or party to
For a couple of seconds.
for a few seconds.
So we might be playing together, and you pop, you do whatever it is that triggers that talent, and everybody gets a notification that they're in overcharge. So even if I'm, a gun DPS player, for that brief moment, my skills are crazy.
Yeah.
Someone was saying like overcharged foam would just freeze you forever. Just like you just Han Solo, like just
It just shoots you into
Just go.
orbit, like,
Yeah.
and then you're gone. You blink out.
So, but we have an example. So, like we showed the flame turret before, right? So this is what it would look like if you're a full tier 6 build. I just wanted to screenshot a build that had full skill tiers, just for people to have a visual of that, right? So you had full skill tier, maybe you have that energized talent, and you proc it, right? Then you go into overcharge, and let's say you throw out your flame turrets, right?
that's a big cone.
Well,
That's,
yeah. So now you can see the little blinky thing. So this is a flame turret on overcharge. And it will, I've purposely made it stay in overcharge here just to demonstrate it, but obviously this is just a temporary effect, and it
Doesn't last this long.
it stops doing that when the talent you saw drops down.
All right. Again, this is a work in progress, like dev.
Right,
build.
yeah.
It's just kind of to show you what could happen.
Yeah, so like your restore hive or like repair hive, all the repair drones go quick as darts all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
like repairing everybody crazy fast.
Do you
and
have any
stuff.
other favorites?
the ballistic shield
Yeah.
going temporarily invulnerable, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, it gets enough regen where it's practically invulnerable.
Essentially
Yeah.
becomes invulnerable. Yeah.
Seeker mines. I would have a question on that.
Some of
Does-
them just gain more power, right?
Sure.
Just
I'm
more
just like
damage. Not all of
theory
them do
crafting.
exotic effects, so
okay.
to speak.
So let's say I reach overcharge
Yeah.
level. I drop a seeker mine. Does that seeker mine still have overcharge until it explodes, or does it have overcharge for the duration of the overcharge, and then does it lose it before it
Seeker Mine
explodes?
specifically grabs the overcharge as you deploy them. It's
And it
kind
will
of
retain
different.
it until it explodes.
Yeah, so it's kind of different. So like a turret, you probably maybe placed it in an advance. So we wanted that to transfer even if you get overcharged while it's
Okay.
out. So we kind of chosen it based on what feels best for each skill.
Okay.
Yeah. I know it's kind of
Interesting.
a lot to take in, but let me just go to the example of here's some mods for a reviver hive or for a hive. So they're just little extra bits and bobs you can put on there. So you still have mods, but you don't have to keep as many of them around.
Cool. But no skill power requirement.
No, and that's why. You don't have to have one for skill power 500 and one for 1,000, one for 3,000. You just need your highest rolled one,
Great.
right?
I like that.
And keep in mind, I know we've mentioned it, but I think it's worth repeating. All of the numbers that you guys see are a work in progress.
Yeah.
Like we're still
Balancing
fine-tuning
and
balancing
tuning
things.
things.
So
Very cool. Well, I mean, that's mega exciting.
Yeah, I think it's part of the whole making it intuitive. Like I equip some skill tier, my skills are better,
Yeah.
and they just are.
Yeah.
someone asked what happens with battery mods.
I think they've lost their charge completely. Is what
They ran
happens
out
to them.
of,
They ran out of juice.
You guys abused and used
Post-apocalypse,
too
you can't keep batteries around forever.
much.
No, I think these are all like they're big changes. So I understand people are going to have to sit with
Sure,
a new
absolutely.
reality a little bit and let it sink in, and then obviously experience it and get their hands on it to
Yeah.
really feel it. I haven't had a chance to play this yet, but it looks really cool.
Definitely should have you in.
Yes. I guess we're coming to the end of the skill power stuff. George, you recorded a couple of developer Q&A things.
I did.
Do you want to get into those?
Yeah.
I think he does. So we're going to head over and let's cut to those two videos. I think this week we have Trick and Nikki on some control points and some a little bit of clarification on how named gear and weapon drops, and then we'll be back and we'll answer a few questions, and then that's going to be it for today. We will see you after these Q&As. All right, see you in a sec.
So who are you and what do you do here?
I'm Trick Dempsey. I'm a senior game designer on The Division 2. I mostly work in the open world and invasions and generally end game content. So the thing that you do after you've beaten the campaign and after you've completed the first invasion, although technically I guess that's also mine. But generally all of that stuff.
Perfect. So the question we've got today is regarding control points, and in particular, why do some activities disappear when you're in the process of leveling up a control point?
So anytime any activity starts, the control point says, oh, I will be satisfied that this activity is complete after a certain amount of time. Generally, those are not the longest amount of time, so that's 5-10 minutes. But once that timer is exhausted, it says, we've done the job now, as long as they have not entered combat, which will halt the timer. But also entering combat, the moment all hostiles are clear, they are satisfied that they've completed their jobs. And that means that they've finished gathering their resources, murdering a bunch of civilians, satisfied that they've just secured an area completely. And generally, if you see those activities disappear off the map, it is because you are a failure. You have failed the people of DC, and you should have known that you could not save everyone.
My name is Nicky Kuppens, and I'm a senior game designer on the economy and progression team for the Division 2.
So we have a question regarding Dark Zone caches in particular, and the question is, can we get named items like weapons and gear from those Dark Zone caches?
Yeah, for sure. You can get the specific ones that are made for or to come only from the Dark Zone, and also some that are both from the open world outside of the Dark Zone and the Dark Zone. So that's an overlapping pool, and there's the Dark Zone specific pool, and you can get either of those weapons and gear pieces from the field proficiency caches. So you have each field proficiency cache gives you one weapon that can be a named weapon, and then one gear piece that can be a named gear piece, and that's the same for the non-Dark Zone field proficiency cache. But those are of course from a different pool, because there you can get the non-Dark Zone specific ones as well.
So another question to throw on top of that to surprise you: can both of the items within those caches be named?
If you're very lucky, yeah, they can be. They roll independently, so you can get a named weapon and a named gear piece at the same time. And for the non-Dark Zone field proficiency cache, you actually have the bonus item as well. That can also be a named item.
So if you're super lucky, you could get 3.
Yes, if that happens, send me a screenshot.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
All right, thanks for sticking around. We're gonna hang around for a few more minutes and answer a few questions. I saw a good one in chat before, someone asking if they can get a stream or maybe some Division 2 tweets leading up to the skill rework, showing off maybe some overcharge effects. I'd be into that.
Yeah.
That'd be
That would be fun.
really cool. Just a hype reel of overcharge, like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Particle effects everywhere.
Yeah.
Can we get you doing that as
The-
sort of like a lead-in to each tweet?
Yes.
Yes. Cool.
One
100%.
Vuvuzela horn?
Well, we could be like, top 5 overcharge effects at number 5.
We
Play.
should
Yeah.
definitely do countdowns.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah? Okay, I'm into it. We answered that first one, but mods, someone was asking if they just, especially I think about the batteries, do they just go poof? Do you get some,
All your current mods are still in your inventory, but they will change their roles because they used to roll like all of the power scaling came from
Okay.
the mods.
So-
So they're going to be different.
but practically, like if I have a battery, that might be just be something random?
Well, the actual battery will, those particular 6 ones, they'll be gone, but all
Okay.
of the other mods, they'll stick around and have stats on them that you can use.
Okay, someone was asking, I think if the batteries go, do they get like in-game credit value for them? I don't think that's something that we're addressing. but
Maybe. I
maybe.
don't know.
Okay.
It's a good suggestion.
Legacy items that just, yeah.
Someone was,
Memorabilia.
someone was
Yeah.
asking, do they have to refarm everything?
This is one of those questions that's come up a lot, so it's good that they're asking it because even if we didn't change anything, the update when all of this goes live is a power cap increase anyway. So if you're going to play at endgame, you would have had to farm new things at any rate.
So that's why we're trying to do it
we're
now?
combining them.
Okay, just to clarify, when Frederick's saying the next update, that doesn't mean episode 3.
No.
We're talking about what comes after episode 3 right now. Episode 3 is currently slated for next month. That's the only date we have for you right now. And then there's something else coming after that where all of this is going to take effect. What was the other one I saw? Yeah, so will fire skills be getting more love? Obviously, we saw the overcharge on the fire turret right now.
Well, one of the reasons why the Seeker Mines and whatever is powerful now is that there's a stat called explosive damage on gear, which we're not keeping around as a rule. So instead, there's the much more generic skill damage that you can have on gear, which
Okay.
should put all of the gear, all of the different skills on more equal footing because you can't kind of double dip, which you can do on explosive skills right now in the same sense, right? You've snuck some in on brands. You can still do that.
There's 2 brands that provide explosive damage bonuses.
But you can't go as deep on explosive skills. And that's really why fire skills or other like status effect skills don't really compete now.
All right. Apparently, there's a tweet yesterday that went out that we would be going over Dark Zone quality of life changes. That was incorrect. I'll have to. Can I blame it on George? I don't know. No. But that was incorrect. Sorry about that. We won't be talking about DZ changes today, but we will definitely talk about changes to the DZ in an upcoming stream because there'll be some things addressed for that.
The only thing I will say is that all of this stuff we've talked about, talons, gear, everything, that really dictates how PvP plays out,
course.
like combat plays out. So all of this still affects the feeling of combat and PvP and the Dark Zone.
Cool. Frederick, you mentioned changes in movement. Did you?
I might have. So we've done some minor tweaks to side movement and stuff like that. What we have done, you got a mail about this today, which we sped up skill deployment.
Yes, yeah.
So
I had nothing to do with that. And I was
but you're
congratulated.
Mr. Skills now. So
One of our level designers here did message me and say like, hey man, I love these changes. And I was like, I'll pass that along to Frederick and the rest of the 3Cs team.
better and more rapid skill deployments coming along as well.
Cool. But yes, I know a lot of people reacting to the Dark Zone stuff, yes, you're right. A lot of these changes will affect how the DZ plays out
Sure.
naturally. But we also know that people are asking for more than just that. So.
Can I? So I was not privy. Had to work on some other stuff, but you did partake in a DZ playtest.
Yeah,
Today.
to feel
And-
what this new Gear game feels like.
And can I, to quote one of our developers, that he was giggling like a schoolgirl with one of our, new in development
New
things.
builds, yeah.
So. Who?
Yeah.
Fabian? Was it?
Fabian.
Okay.
And he's a nice guy, but the DZ brings out the best/worst in him.
The
Yeah.
meta is changing.
Yeah, it definitely is worth noting that these, you said it before, that it makes sense for these changes to come at a time, not just arbitrarily,
Yeah.
but when you have new reasons to want to get different things and play content and all that. So
Has to come as a big package.
yeah,
yeah.
there's got to be new stuff to do.
Mhm.
So we are very aware of that.
Cool.
So would we have to refarm after new content has been out? Oh, we just talked about that. Again, we will talk about the DZ in an upcoming stream. Do you guys have anything else you want to chat about before we have a look at some agent highlights? And
I
then
think,
we're going
I
to
think one thing we talked about that we forgot to talk about last week with the roll quality on things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, we just forgot to mention it, but then someone said, hey, that would be great. And I'm like, well, that's how it works, which is the higher the difficulty of content you play, the higher the average quality of the gear is in this new gear game, right? If you play heroics, you're going to get, on average, better rolls than if you're playing like story mode.
Yeah.
You can still luck out and get like that full god roll anywhere in the game, but you're going to get on average better rolls the more difficult it is, the thing you're playing, right?
Okay.
And yeah, that's
It's important to stress.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at the agent highlights for this week then. I haven't actually seen what we've got coming up. I think we're prepared for that. Yeah. Let's take a look. Oh, damn.
Oof.
Akimoto with the sick cosplay. That's
cool.
nice. That's a cool photo too.
That is great.
I really like
Yeah, the
that.
wear and tear on the mask as well is a nice touch.
Really nice. I posted a shitty cosplay picture this weekend.
It wasn't shitty.
Yeah.
Was
I
it
mean-
Dodge City holster? Or,
Dodge shitty. Oh,
Oh, no.
Rasmus. Was it Rasmus that said that? I can't
Maybe.
remember. Anyway, no, awesome. And
Oh, no, you didn't. Is it Ella or George that did this? George. All right, George.
Grander X, you are.
This is some picture of an agent with a hammer.
You are a beautiful unicorn, and I love you for doing this. That's fantastic. And a really great likeness too.
I reached out to this guy and thanked him for it. It was very, I was very flattered.
It's
Thorlander
very, very
is
cool.
the
we
moniker.
can only wish for such, immortalization. But that's very very cool.
Yeah.
You're in chat as well. Grander X, thank you
Hey,
very much
Grander
for
X. Love
doing
you.
such cool art.
Yep.
That's awesome. Everyone, go over and so Grander X AWD on Twitter. Go follow because there's a bunch of cool stuff. You've seen the cartoons and things before.
they're great.
Yeah, and I've never said the name right. Hopefully, I got it right today. I think they even made a compilation of the amount of times I've struggled to be like,
Let's stay to the game without some awkwardness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. Well, thank you guys for joining today.
Yeah.
What's next week? What did we say we're doing next week?
Have we decided?
Chat will remember.
Yeah. Well, they'll remind us. Safe
Oh,
to say, though,
Okay,
that
it was last.
it's not over.
Anyway, you saw the image last week. I've just forgotten what we said on,
Yeah,
was
It's
on it.
spicy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Feel it. Cat with the roadmap. Boom. Coming in clutch. Thank you so much.
Best mods on
Episode
Twitch.
3 next week. Okay. Well, episode 3. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
We've got some cool things to show you. Cool. And then all of what we've talked about this week and the week previously is coming in the update after episode 3. Episode 3 currently slated for February. That's what we can tell you right now.
Which is not long. February is soon.
No, it's like just over a
And February is a short month. So then
There you go.
Not this year. Well, still.
Yeah.
My dad's birthday's on the 29th of February, so we have fun with
Happy
that.
birthday to, well, we'll get there.
Yeah, soon. All right, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll be back again next week for episode 3 shenanigans and talking about some cool stuff. I don't know who's joining me next week.
I don't know. Maybe I'll get Crash.
TBD. All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you again soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.